Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Missing Live. This is another episode where we are featuring another one of the thousands of missing people in Houston who have been missing for years, gone without a trace. I'm Kaitlin Monte, and joining me today is the father of Jared Chavez. Willie Smith is joining me. And Willie, you and I had a fantastic conversation a couple weeks ago when we met. And just a couple of minutes ago, in the past hour, I aired your story live on FOX26. For those of you who weren't able to watch it, allow me to give you a chance to learn about the story of Jared Chavez, who's been missing for 4 years.
18, 19, I did bad things. I did good things, but overall, we all deserve that good life, you know.
You glow when you talk about him.
He did things that I wanted him to do. You know, as a father, you set a milestone for your kids, and you look at it, and when they get on that right track of doing it, it makes you proud of them.
Jared Chavez was 19 when he went missing 4 years ago.
He graduated with honors, played football. He joined the Air Force coming out of high school.
Jared had moved to Houston and was going to school.
He had the right goals in life, and his mind was set right.
January 13th, 2018. Jared's mom calls him, but Jared doesn't answer the phone.
It wasn't like Jared had to answer, because Jared talked to his mama every day. She said, something ain't right. And a mother's instinct, when something ain't right, a mother knows.
They got in touch with a few of Jared's friends who had been with him the night before.
They started giving me stories, and none of the stories was adding up.
What kind of stories?
One of the stories was they had got into an altercation with some guys. Somebody shot a gun, and they all took out running, and they couldn't find Jared. And then one of them said, well, Jared was in a car with this other guy, and there were gunshots. I'm like, hold up. Anybody call the police? Well, no, we thought he was gonna show back up to his car. So I'm like, where's his car? In the CVS parking lot.
Did you find it?
The car wasn't there. But first I was thinking, well, he's a young man. He got hooked up with a young lady or something. Maybe,
Sure.
Maybe he just went out for the night and he gonna show back up. But then when
Jared's car was found stripped, abandoned in an isolated parking spot at the Piney Point Apartments, several blocks away.
They told me the car was involved in a robbery. Well, all right, if he was involved in something and he did something, where is he? I'm trying to get in touch with the friend that he was with. Well, at this point, they're all like hiding. They don't want to deal with me.
Do you think they know something?
At the time, I just felt they knew something. That's when anger had took over me. That's when anger really took over me, who I was.
Willie eventually ran into one of Jared's friends at a store.
Man, Willie, I told you got to talk to Deshaun. Talk to Deshaun. Deshaun was in that call. Deshaun knew what happened with Jared.
Did you know this Deshaun?
Never knew him.
2 weeks go by, and Jared's credit card gets used at a store. Willie calls in the tip, but eventually he gets the call.
Mr. Smith, the case is going from a missing person to now a homicide case, because we think something done happened.
They had some evidence.
They had some type of evidence.
What was it?
They wouldn't tell me.
They wouldn't tell you?
Still haven't told me.
You still don't know?
Still no evidence. I have no idea what the evidence they have.
Do you think your son's alive?
No. I pray on it. I pray and to come to, an ice God just to give me, just to help ease my mind at a certain instinct. And that's one thing he's kind of let me see that he's not going. I want to put my hands back on Jared again. And I just got God to continue to strengthen me. But I have to save the energy and for learning to forgive.
He also has to stay strong for another young man in his life, Jared's son, born around the time that Jared went missing. He's now 4 years old.
Great kid, see Jared in him every day. He, a lot of Jared in him. So, a lot of Jared in him. Yeah.
Willie knows someday the question will come.
He gonna ask question, where's my dad? And I'm not gonna never say your dad disappeared. I will never say that. I'm gonna say he's missing, but we're gonna find Jared.
All right, Willie. You and I had such a conversation, and I had such a hard time packing it all in to something that could fit on air. And I'm so glad you're with us, because there's just people on our staff have been asking questions. So I want to hit you with a couple questions, because our goal here with this series is to invite those of you who are watching to help Willie and his family and Jared's friends and loved ones to see if we can find the missing pieces. Because as you heard, law enforcement has evidence of what they think has happened, but there's only so much they can share. And it's been 4 years and we're still looking. So the first question that I got from several people, Willie, is, have you ever figured out who this Deshaun character is?
Yes. Well, I kind of know who Deshaun is, and it's I've spoken to him over the phone, which he, at the time, but he haven't been straight up with me. He haven't been straight up with the law enforcement. But it's also 2 other individuals that was involved that we have gotten to find about also.
So Deshaun was in the car with Jared, or has he not followed that story?
From my understanding, Deshaun and Jared got in the car with 2 other individuals, and through something went on in the car, and that's when the gunshots took place within that car. So,
So the car was found stripped, and you said it was just so unusual because Jared had been taking such good care of his car. I mean, he was an upright guy from everything you've told me about him. And then the car was found stripped and abandoned, and you went to the apartment complex where the car was found in a sort of random spot. And tell everyone about what reaction you got when you spoke with the apartment complex management and the people there.
Yeah, well, the car was like I said, it was a Piney Point on Marquette. That's where it was found at. And the location of the car found, when I talked to the manager, she told me somebody had to knew that area, knew that complex, because the car was parked like on the second, I'm gonna say like the second floor. It was like a parking garage, second floor, and it was like a visitor's parking spot. So whatever, and they parked the car like way in the back in a corner to where no one would have seen that car. Like the car could have stayed there for days and no one would have reported, because it wasn't like taking up someone's parking spot or anything. So whoever put it over there, they kind of knew that. They knew where they were putting it, and it was kind of familiar with that area.
And it was stripped, as in.
Well, I'm not gonna say stripped, it was cleaned out.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't stripped. It was just.
So all of his stuff was gone.
Like all the stuff he had in the car was gone. The floor mats was gone. I mean,
the floor mats were gone.
Yeah, stuff like that. It was just everything inside the car was gone. It wasn't like they vandalized or anything. Just like anything. Like Jared had tennis shoes and stuff in the trunk and clothing. It was completely gone. Nothing.
All right, Willie, we have a question coming in from George here. George wants to know whether there was ever any video or surveillance of where the credit card that was used, Jared's credit card was used. Were you able to get any video or trace down anything about that transaction?
Well, when I got in touch with the police and I told them what the credit card was being, because they followed up and figured out where the card was used at, and it was an S mark off of 610. I went there, and when I went there, they would not show me the video, because so when I gave it over to the police, and by the time they got there, 30 days had them passed, so it wasn't no video evidence.
The evidence was gone.
It was gone.
I'll tell you what, if you guys are ever in a situation where you need video evidence of something that just happened, contact FOX26, because often our reporters are able to go and see if we can get our hands on that as well before law enforcement. So the evidence is gone. Did they find any clues as to who or how the credit card was used in that circumstance?
None.
Nothing. Or at least no clues, or nothing they've been able to tell you?
Well, nothing they told me, but I don't think they had any clues, because they didn't share anything with me about it. All they told me was, they waited to sit on it. It was too long.
Mm.
30 days hadn't passed.
What about fingerprints on the vehicle? Anything?
They didn't share it with me.
So if there is anything, you
Like I
don't
said,
know.
when they first picked up the car was picked up saying it was involved in a robbery. And I sat on the car. So they gave me the car back. Then a friend of mine told me, don't do anything with the car, leave it in Houston. And maybe 2 weeks later, they came back and got the car again for a homicide investigation. And that's when, but they didn't share too much with what they got out of the car.
Now, you did a lot of your own investigating. You went down on the ground, you were knocking on doors, but you eventually stopped, and you told me why. But tell everyone why you eventually stopped going out and doing as much of this yourself.
Because at the point, I was so mad. I was angry. I was, at one point I was in an apartment complex where one of the individuals supposedly stayed, Will Cox apartment. And it just got to the point to where, I asked myself when if I meet one of these guys, what gonna be the situation? So then I had to sit down and start praying and asking God, relieve me of some of this anger, or relieve me, and just to stand by me, because this is not who I am and this is not what I'm about, but so it was tough, and I had to just sit back and let the police do their investigation, and I put my trust in them, and I did, and I mean, I still have trust, I still believe in God, and I have faith in God, and I just figure that answers will come.
So where do things stand? What's missing in this case? So what do you, at least from what police have been able to tell you, what is it that they need that would help them move this forward, or is this gone cold?
That's what I can't put my hands on. What, I know COVID really hurt a lot of things, but when I gave, as a father, we gave you all the names that he was with, and it's how, did they come in, these guys? Have they been questioned? Have you, because the car that Jared was supposedly shot in, we had a description of the car, who, and then I gave it to the police. And when the guy who owned the car, where is this car? Did you go to this guy? Have you figured out where the car is at? Do you have, I mean, a lot of the answers didn't come to me. I still haven't gotten them. And I'm like, when can you sit me down and tell me, all right, Mr. Smith, this is what we got. We know what happened. But it's 4 years later and I still haven't got those answers.
I'm putting up a picture here for those who want to see, and his eyes, Jared's eyes have been what's been so striking to me. I mean, he's just got captivating eyes. You can see it here in this picture as well. So, everyone's looking now, Willie, on our team, certainly we are just so curious. And another question coming in here, people asking, what can parents do to get information from law enforcement after so much time? This coming from Joanne Lowitzer, who you know well. We know well. She's another family. Her daughter went missing 11 years ago. We have here at Fox 26, as part of this series, been working on making some connections with law enforcement to learn a little bit more about that process. We're going to be going into that because can you talk a little bit about your communications with law enforcement? Because I know that they give you updates, but they can only give you so much, correct?
And that's what they're always telling me, Mr. Smith, and, right now they're still telling me it's an active case 4 years later. So they can't share information with me. The case is still active. So, and I mean, at the beginning when I was asking, because it did change, the detective, he did go to the lead detective. He got off the case, went to another detective. So, and he was like, well, Mr. Smith, I can't share this with you. I can't, and it's like, I mean, at one point you got to sit down, 4 years later, sit down and tell me something. I just can't imagine going through it. And we're going to continue to say, and I call, I ask, I email, and it's still nothing.
Daisy has a question that you and I talked about. You have a lot of evidence in terms of what you've been told. You've got the physical vehicle. No arrests have been made, but what's the status of questioning those friends? And I put it in quotes because anyone who doesn't help find one of their friends who went missing, I struggle with that, right? So have those friends been formally questioned and documented? Or are police not able to tell you that?
I know when it first happened, one of the guys was questioned over the phone. He was back in Louisiana, and it was a phone call. That's how they talked to him. The other one, I think he kind of gave, like the Deshaun guy. I think he kind of like lied. Pretty much his statement was all lies, because like I said, I didn't get much information from the law enforcement myself, but a few things they were trying to slip in. I'm like, well, can y'all bring them in, talk to them, just see what they say happened from the point A to point B to point, to where we at today. And but they didn't give me anything on that. But like I said, one of them I know was questioned over the phone by phone call.
Tammy's asking if you've gotten a private investigator involved. Have you
I've
done that?
contacted 4 of them, and
4 of them.
I've contacted 4 private investigators throughout this time, and it was like pretty much, the law enforcement going there. From what I gave them, they say there was nothing they could do if the law enforcement weren't doing nothing. Pretty much, a couple of guys told me they would just be flat out taking my money.
Oh, God. Well, we have a special guest here for those of you who are joining us, a young man who is another reason why you have continued to put yourself out there. And I know that's difficult for families to do at times, but we have Tiana. Tiana, you ready? Amir, you ready? Here they come. We have a very special guest. This is Tiana and Amir. You saw in the story that Jared is a father, and here you see the young man who Jared is so proud, I'm sure, to be father to. He's just the cutest, and when you talk about those eyes, you can see. So Tiana, do you want to unmute and say hello?
Hi, how are you?
Look at him. So how are you doing, Amir?
Good.
Good. You look just like your daddy.
I do.
Yes, you do.
My daddy loves saying. Okay.
So this has been really emotional for all of you guys, but Amir is a big reason why you guys are continuing to look. You're going to find Jared for him, find him answers. And Willie, you said you see so much of Jared in Amir. How so?
Yes.
How so? How so? What's the personality?
His characteristic. If you be around and you see, Jared had a character. He was a character. He really was. And Amir is just like him. And if anybody can see those eyes, that's him. And I mean, if you was to be around him, you'd be like, and if you ever met Jared, anybody that know Jared and be around Amir, they're gonna be like, wow. It's amazing that so much of Jared is in Amir.
Now, Tiana, you knew Jared. Tell us about Jared.
I met him when we were in Biloxi, Mississippi at tech school. We were both in the Air Force together. Me? No, your dad. And
you'll be in tech school someday. Don't worry about it.
I had some of the best moments. Like, Jared made it very worthwhile being down there. He always showed me a good time, always made me very comfortable being around him. And I literally laughed all day with him. And that's just how Amir is. He knows how to put a smile on your face, just like his dad does. And I don't know, Jared, he was an amazing listener.
Where do you think he is now? Where do you think, what do you think happened? I guess, where are you kind of scratching, trying to solve this? What do you think is that clue that you need?
I think it's one of these friends that he was with that needs to come up and say what happened. Because I know that they know what happened. And I don't know why no one wants to talk, but this young man right here should be enough for anyone to come say, like, hey, because he needs that closure. His family needs that closure. I need that closure.
Amen. 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 Well, he is adorable and charming. As you can see from the comments, we've got a lot of people who are not going to give up, trying to help you out. And we thank you for sharing some. I'm out of time in terms of how much time we can chat here today, but we are going to have this story on FOX26Houston.com. So those of you who are watching this later on in a rebroadcast or who are finding this, sharing this, please feel free to not only share this, but go to our website where we're going to be able to continue to put updates. So if we learn anything about where Jared is or anything about the case, we will keep you all posted. And if any of you find any information or have any tips, please know that you can always call in a tip. Right now, Houston police are handling the investigation, so you can call in that tip to them through their non-emergency number. You can also contact us. You can also work with the Texas Center for the Missing. That's the group that we have partnered with here through this series.
And also
centerforthemissing.org. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Also, we still have a $10,000 reward through Crime Stoppers on the missing. You also contact Crime Stoppers, and we still have a $10,000 reward for any information leading up to answers on what happened to Jared Chavez.
So there we go. We've got the reward. We've got a lot of people circling around you, and we're so proud of you, Willie, for what you've done to stand up, be the voice for your son. And Amir, it was great to meet you. Tiana, it was great to have you. And thank you, everyone who tuned in. Please hit share, spread the word, talk to your friends. You just never know who's going to be the person who sees a little something and realizes, wait a minute, I have some information. One of our staff members, when we talked about the Piney Points apartment, said, wait, I used to live there.
Yep.
And this is right here in the heart of Houston. So hopefully we'll be able to get some answers soon and some closure. But we appreciate all of you who joined us, those of you who are supporting the series, and we encourage you to go to fox26houston.com, look for under series The Missing, where you can see other reports of the other amazing families we've spoken with who are doing such incredible work to speak and be the voice for their missing loved ones. So thank you, everyone. Hit share. We'll see you next time. We appreciate all of you for joining us. Willie, Tiana, Amir, have a good night.
All right. Thank you very much. You have a good night. Thank you.